Out in a dense forest in central Ukraine, troops from a Ukrainian artillery battery are training before heading out to the front lines. For some it will be a return to the fight, for others it will be their first time, as they replace those who have been injured or killed. Firing at targets in a clearing with AK-47 rifles, they are careful to conserve ammunition. And it is not just training camps where supplies are low. We have enough fighting spirit to win, of course. Unfortunately, we currently do not have enough weapons, Roman, their commander, tells me. The main thing is to have enough ammunition. Out on the front lines they are having to economize, he explains. This is not a secret. The amount of ammunition that the enemy uses daily is at least 5 times higher than the amount of ammunition that we use. Supplies from allies have been essential for Ukraine in this war. For Roman and other soldiers, the NATO summit in Vilnius is a crucial moment to ensure they have what they need to continue the fight. The widespread expectation is that new weapons will be promised at the summit, as well as more supplies of ammunition. The U.S. decision to provide cluster munitions from existing stockpiles last week was partly to act as a stopgap before new artillery supplies are ready. But viewed from Ukraine, the summit is about much more than just weapons and ammunition. It is about what type of commitment the country will be offered when it comes to joining the alliance. Ukraine has been knocking at NATO's door for years. What it wants is more than just positive noises and a feeling of being left in a permanent waiting room. At the core of NATO is Article 5, which sets out that an attack on one member is an attack on all. This principle of collective defense could offer protection for Ukraine, but, almost everyone agrees, is very difficult to put in place when a country is already at war. We believe that it is long overdue to invite Ukraine to NATO, Oleg Nikolko, a spokesperson for Ukraine's foreign affairs minister, says. An invitation to join NATO does not mean an immediate membership in NATO. We are cognizant of the fact that as long as the war goes on, Ukraine won't be able to join NATO. But we are talking about the invitation and setting the clear time frame for this to happen. The 2008 NATO summit in Bucharest casts a long shadow. Ukraine, along with Georgia, was told membership was on the cards in the future, but with no clear path and no expectation that it would be anytime soon. That angered Russia, but without offering any protection in return. Georgia was attacked in 2008 by Russia, and Ukraine attacked too. First in 2014 and then in 2022. Many of those U.S. officials involved in the decision in Bucharest now acknowledge it was a mistake. This time Ukraine wants greater clarity and concrete assurances. The exact nature and timetable of any commitment could have real consequences for the war. For instance, offering membership only when the war is over might encourage Russia to maintain a low-level conflict to stall membership, some analysts argue. But there are existing NATO members who are cautious about offering too much to Ukraine now. They fear this could draw NATO closer to war with Russia. That is a view that is met with some annoyance in Ukraine. Let's be honest, for a long time, NATO has been paying too much attention to whether Russia will allow them to do anything. Mikhailo Podolyak, an advisor to the office of the President of Ukraine, told me when I visited his heavily guarded office in the center of the capital. NATO must say unequivocally that there are no more preconditions for this related to Russian threats. Ukrainians view membership as a way to end the war by deterring Russia rather than escalating it. They acknowledge, as US President Joe Biden has made clear in recent days, that Ukraine needs to make the reforms that any prospective member has to undertake. But they argue that NATO was set up to confront Moscow in the Cold War, and yet it is now Ukraine which is effectively fighting on NATO's behalf, defending its eastern flank against Russia with its soldiers and civilians dying every day.